minutes on is our students on academic interventions, and so Erin, how are we doing there with the kids that are getting a little bit of extra academic support?
Well, actually, we're pretty good. We have 30 students that are on academic interventions.
That's awesome. We're supporting about twice as many as we were able to last year.
Yeah, things are going really well. And 27 of those students are making progress. So we really only...
Yay! Yeah, that's exciting.
So big improvements over the last year. So we really only need to talk about 3 of them. There are 3 that are still struggling. The first one I wanted to talk about is Laura, and recently we did her mid-year dibbles, and she's still at risk. She isn't making progress. Her teachers saying that with the curriculum, she's really seeing that she's continuing to struggle there as well in the classroom. In my reading group, I'm seeing the same thing. The other students are progressing, and she's not making progress.
I've been out to their home before, and it's just not a home that supports literacy. I mean, when you go in there, you don't see books anywhere. Don't get the feeling that these parents read to their children.
Yeah, and I've kind of, I ask all the kids about the reading that they do at home, and she really has said that not much is happening there. They don't have a lot of books. Parents are busy. She watches a lot of television.
Oh, TV? Really?
Yeah.
So
oh my gosh.
What do you think we should do for her? Do you have you know her the best out of all of us. What might be a...
Well, I think that I could put her in with a group of my 2nd grade students, and I think she would fit in well with them. Their reading level is about the same, and so I think that might be a good fit.
Okay, well let's try that, and then
that's great.
Should we do anything around following up with the home pieces at this point, or?
I'll talk to her teacher
about
that, and then maybe I'll contact her parents as well, and let them know what we want to do, and then I should be able to start her next week.
There is a little pot of money. If the parents were interested in having some books in the home, we've got a little money we could spend.
I'll let them know that.
So.
And as far as time, maybe you guys can follow up with each other after the meeting so we can move on to the next student?
Perfect.
Sure, we could do that.
Yeah. Okay, so our next, Max. Max, again, at risk on dibbles. We've been progress monitoring him for about 12 weeks, and we're not seeing any change there. So I have a lot of concern with Max, and he misses a lot of school. He has difficulty focusing in class, so I think that there are some other factors with it, but I have concerns about that.
Are these excused absences or unexcused absences?
Well, both. Usually his parents, they'll excuse, if he forgets to tie his shoe, and they'll excuse anything.
Right.
But
so the home life kind of impacts a little bit. He can't really. It's one thing we have this wonderful intervention for him, but we just can't get him in to access it as much as he needs it. Huh?
What if we require the doctor's slip if he misses more than a day or 2 in a row? So it might get them to think about the responsibility of getting him to school.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if, what about, we don't have someone here who knows about that, but possibly if you could ride the bus instead of having parents drop him off, that might be another option. If, I know he's I think he was on the bus route,
yeah,
so.
He does.
Is there an attendance plan going on, like a little sticker chart?
I do have a small group of kids that have been a part of that, and that's certainly something I could check in with him about in the morning and get him on an incentive plan related to attendance too.
So, Mitch, maybe would you mind to follow up with the parents and see sort of in a helpful approach how we might be able to support? We have some options. One might be for him to be on the bus if that would be easier, and maybe see about if they would be open to putting him in Sarah's group. But since it's an absence issue, it might make sense for you to follow up. And then, do you think, Carrie, possibly, that he might need, we should do any other assessment? I could take just kind of a first step kind of look, and
I
then.
think that's a good idea. It sounds like, I mean, absences are always an issue, but in first grade, it's really imperative that we get his reading skills up to speed. So I think that's a great idea, Bill and Joe.
So maybe I'll try to come during my planning time and just take a quick peek in your group. I think you have him kind of right around that time. And then maybe you can send him down, or we can have his teacher send him down at another time, and I'll just do some kind of first level assessment. And then if I need some help, I'll follow up with you.
And if it's helpful, I can do some observations, meet with the teacher to consider if there's an intervention, maybe first step that
for the
would be
behavior
good,
things,
good
yeah,
for
that might
Max.
be.
Yeah, because that focusing thing, it's great if we start getting him in more, but then we need him to buckle down and really work on those skills.
Yeah, and that's a great intervention because of the home component. Yeah, that's a really good idea. So, good.
Win-win.
Yeah, regular contact with the parents.
Mike's always thinking ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Well, maybe the next for me, I think I could do that in the next couple of weeks, so maybe right by the week after spring break, the 25th or so, to observe, and if you can contact parents, and then if they might be open to something like first step, we can follow up with that, maybe at our next meeting, and see if that's where we want to go.
Yeah, I think by the 25th,
Perfect.
we can get a lot of that accomplished.
Yeah, it sounds like he might need some comprehensive support. And then there's one more student that we need to talk about, right?
Yes, Nate, our 5th grade Nate. Nate, we seem to be talking about him a lot.
Refusing to
Yeah, I
get
have him in my group, in my class. He's already spending some time with me, and we're not getting much done at all. It can be really frustrating. Won't do anything, not much writing, and then I know the teacher, he's thinking writing is really stupid in science and social studies and some of those kinds of classes. So we're.
And writing is the big issue? Is that what it's all about?
It seems like it.
He doesn't like it. I'm not going to do it.
And what about the verbal? He can, can you get verbal? Can you get the spoken responses pretty good?
Yeah, verbally he's great. I mean, he can really get his thoughts across. But
Do we have a good measure of his writing skills now compared to other kids?
with all the refusal, we don't really know if we
Okay,
are really seeing what he can do.
Well, I had him in 3rd grade, and I know that a lot of times if I kind of had him dictate to somebody, or that was helpful, but he also really likes keyboarding. I think he was pretty good at keyboarding, if I remember.
Well, maybe that's something we should work. I can definitely contact his teacher and see if at least in science and social studies, some of those classes, or possibly having a peer take notes and then get them from the peer if she would be open to that. I don't mind to take the lead on that since I'm already working with them and writing.
and I'd really like to delve into trying to figure out what his skills are. It could just be a skill deficit.
And that
So
would be
I'll
helpful for
look
me.
into that and see if I can get a comparison of his writing, compared to how kids are performing in 5th grade.
Yeah, and if we could get an idea of some strategies, because I just don't know at this point really what else to do with him.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to talk about something else, but
Yeah.
it would be helpful to know. I'm not sure if he's had any sort of OT kinds of, I don't think that's an issue with him. I don't think it's,
Not that
I
I
think it's
recall.
more just,
I think it's a lot of just, I don't want to do it because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard.
Well, it sounds like we just need some more information, and so I'm
Yeah,
happy to
it's
help
hard for
gather
him.
that information.
Sure.
okay, well, I can follow up with this classroom teacher
Okay.
by, same kind of timeline as what I'm following up with Max, so the next couple of weeks before we meet again for sure. And then.
Yeah, I'll get that done, just, probably, spring break coming up, it'll be a little tricky, but again, this is an important one, so I'm thinking, middle of April, I can get
Okay.
that done by.
Great.
Perfect. All right. Anything else around academic interventions that we need to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I mean, everything else seems to be going really well.
Perfect.